Hi, everyone. I'm Mark Rosenzweig. I want to welcome everybody to our third year of our Healing Arts program. And we started doing ALKtALKs and classes online in October of 2020. Most of the instructors that we started with are still with us. They free of charge. They don't charge us for their time. And it's an incredible resource for everybody. Back in 2014, I went to an ALK summit, and ever since 2014, I really never run across ALK patients in any of my local cancer support groups. So when I went to Gina Hollenbach back in 2020 and basically gave her an idea, why can't we do this over Zoom? She, with her help, supported me and supported bringing in quality speakers to talk to us on Sunday. So I want to show you really the best way of finding us. This is our ALK-positive.org website, and this is our homepage. If you click on ALKtALK, you'll see, as you scroll down, we have a Join Zoom Room button, we have a calendar button. You can view past ALKtALKs. You can use this button to contact us with any ideas or thoughts. If you scroll down, you'll see our ALKtALK speakers and a little bit about the ALKtALK itself. And then you can also, when you scroll down, you can find out about our classes and some videos of what the classes are all about with the description. So I'm going to pop back up and basically pop up the calendar and show you what it looks like. So in the calendar, you'll see the class. You can click on the class, left click it. You can join the class directly from this calendar. And I want to point out that the chair yoga has a different Zoom room and password. And our yoga, we have a password, Hanka. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And I also just want to mention a few other things. We've hosted 33 ALKtALKs, which is really incredible. We've had 5,200 live viewers. We've had 15,600 YouTube views. And it's an amazing thing. I just wanted to make sure that I give credit, first of all, to the instructors, and second of all, an opportunity for them to speak on a Sunday night and highlight them and what they do. So our first speaker is going to be Dan Wilson. Dan and I have known each other for the last year or so, and he takes over the men's group. So I'll introduce Dan. There you go, Dan.
So last year's summit, we were tasked with Bill Westlake and myself with running a men's breakout session. And in that men's breakout session, there was one brave soul who joined us, and he stayed with us for 3 or 4 of the rotations. And we just talked to him the whole time. And we reached one person that day in a men's group. And we affected his mindset. We affected how he would reapproach his cancer journey, and it made it worth it. So when we had talked about these healing arts groups and whatnot, I believe the men's talk was something that was very much needed. There's not a lot of representation of men in the ALK-positive group, but there is definitely a need. So it was about a year ago now that we launched the men's group, and we've been having monthly meetings. We'll get anywhere from, summer months, we may only get 4 or 5, but I think we've gotten as high as 14 to 16 on Thursday nights. The one thing that we are lacking, that we have not had any support with or any participation from, is caregivers. But the topics range from anything organically as we're telling our story and introducing ourselves to planned topics that Mark and I decided to talk about that we may have written down that we can bring up if there's ever a slow time in the conversation. So it's really whatever's top of mind, whatever people are going through. And it gives the opportunity for different men in the group to talk about their story. A lot of these men that join are not vocal in the ALK positive posts. And we feel that it just gives a great opportunity for these individuals to have somewhere to go that's not necessarily their family, or feel that they're burdening someone. And Mark and I are extremely happy to help facilitate that group every month. And we think of it very much as a family. We check in on each other. I'm sure as many of you do in a lot of the other groups, or, you know, just through posts. So we find it very much an outlet as men to talk about what we're going through. And it could be something that's very personal to us, or it could be something that's very broad ranged, you know, going on in the world, but it typically revolves around our diagnosis. So I invite any guys to join us on Thursday nights. We're typically the third Thursday of every month at 9 o'clock Eastern. Most of us have a drink in hand and we lay back and, you know, and chat, and we typically go over, but you know, it's always a good reason that we're going over on our time. So please come and join us, and you'll be guaranteed to laugh, and you might even cry a little bit too at the same time. So thank you for bringing me on.
Thank you. Our next presenter is going to be Summer's going to introduce our art therapy group.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here on ALKtALK. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, so art therapy, it'll be almost 2 years since the first time I attended. I believe it was January 2021. Just a few weeks in, I was bullied by my daughter, who was then a senior. I had been diagnosed, a senior in high school. I had been diagnosed the summer prior, and my kids definitely weren't used to seeing me sitting around. And I remember saying to her, oh, there's art therapy today. And she said, are you just gonna sit here? Or are you gonna go meet some people, do something? Anyway, it was the best thing I ever did. I went there, I found my people. Yes, I had been, you know, on the Facebook support group, but just seeing these people in person that, well, in person, as close as you can get, seeing these people. Excuse me? Anyway, seeing everyone with similar situations to me that can go through the joys of life while wearing a bomb vest or having a loaded gun pressed to their head. We could talk about things that we were going through with our children, or anything, not even cancer related, but also we could talk about scans or stressors or whatever. So that was my first little tiptoe into getting involved at all. And from there, it just spiraled. So, and now I have to say, sadly, I guess it's great that I'm able to work a lot more. So I don't get to attend art therapy all the time. But again, those relationships that I built, I still talk to these people, check in on them, message them. And also I pop into art whenever I can. So it's awesome. So I'm glad that you'll get to experience tonight a little bit of art therapy. Sometimes we start off the session with a poem or a type of art prompt. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I don't know if Mark mentioned earlier to grab your paper and pencils or crayons or whatever you have nearby, Play-Doh. But if you would like to do that, that would be great. So we have this poem by Mary Oliver, When I Am Among the Trees. So in art, we would read this and then we would reflect on it. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, stay a while. The light flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. And with that, I will introduce Rachel, our current art therapist that works with our group.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name's Rachel. I work for, I'm the intern at Samaritan Counseling Center, and I facilitate the group every week on Thursdays. And while you're working on this prompt, and I'll give you a little more of what we do in art therapy. So the prompt is tree imagery. So from the inspiration from that poem, create an image or sculpt or whatnot, yourself as a tree. Okay. So I'll repeat that one more time. We're creating a tree imagery of yourself as a tree based off of the poem that Summer just read, or not. It's whatever you want to do. That's kind of like what we do in art therapy. Sometimes we free associate, and that's cool too. So just a little bit background story about art therapy and kind of what we do. I'm personally a Wayne State University student, graduate student in counseling and art therapy. It's the only university in the state of Michigan that's accredited by the American Art Therapy Association. But the American Art Therapy Association, they basically state, they have, I have to pop this up. And this is what art therapists are. And they are master's level clinicians who work with people of all ages across a broad spectrum of practice, guided by ethical standards in a scope of practice. And their education and supervised training prepares them for culturally proficient work with diverse populations, including cancer, in a variety of settings. And it honors the individual's values and beliefs. And art therapists work with people who are challenging with medical and mental health problems, as well as individuals seeking emotional, creative, and spiritual growth. And so how it works is we use integrative methods to engage the mind, body, and spirit in ways that are distinct from verbal articulation alone. So we use like kinesthetic, sensory, perceptual, and symbolic opportunities, invite alternative modes of receptive or expressive communication, and it can circumvent the limitations of just, using words like in counseling and talk therapy. So visual and symbolic expression gives the voice to experience and empower individuals or the community or even societal transformation through imagery. So that being said, unless we have any questions, after this little doodle, we can do breakout rooms and we can just discuss about what this tree exercise means to you, or what it could mean to you if you don't have then do the thing. It's a quick little tidbit of what we do.
Jessica, do the breakout rooms not work right now?
Yeah,
Jessica, do the breakout rooms not work?
the breakout room doesn't look like an option right now. We had it earlier.
Okay. I'm having problems with the computer, obviously. So, Jessica, you are our first art therapist. Tell us your experience dealing with the people that you dealt with during the first season of art therapy.
Sure. Well, like Summer spoke to, like Rachel is speaking to, art therapy is a very welcoming, non-judgmental space to express whatever it is that you're feeling about life, cancer, anything in between. When we first started, October of 2020, it was a pretty small group. No one really knew. Well, Ellen, where is she? She knew what art therapy was, but no one really knew. And you all grew as a group into, wow, this is amazing. We don't have to be good at art to draw about our feelings. We don't have to be magnificent or creative to have a good discussion. And It's amazing to see now what Rachel and the other art therapists in between have been doing and will continue bringing. Summer really spoke to it beautifully, what the experience of the first group was like. And it was really special, and it should continue to grow the more people that are exposed to it, coming to this meeting, hopefully drawing some trees right now. Looks like we might not get to have the discussion as intimately in breakout rooms as we wanted to, but just brings out things, making art about your feelings that sometimes words can't get out as easily.
And I'm going to pick on a few people I know that are in art therapy. And Debbie or Ellen, do you want to chime in a little bit about your experience with art therapy?
You gotta say which Ellen you're calling out.
Or Dana, you can speak about art.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. This not what it turned out to be, but I'm going to talk to my art therapy peeps and ask them to explain a little bit about their experiences, and then we'll move on to guided imagery. So, Ellen,
I wouldn't miss it for anything. Yeah, I wouldn't miss it for anything.
Yeah, I schedule around art therapy.
Yeah.
You guys, when I joined shortly after I was diagnosed, not knowing that it was a new group, and it absolutely was the life-saving for me. Just like meeting people who have the same cancer as me, and these people have become my close friends. It's so meaningful to me to go to art.
In the beginning, we check in, and so we find out, you know, the current events in everyone's lives. Well, in terms of cancer, yeah, the ALK diagnosis and their scans, and any little thing that, I don't know, it's the big things and the little things. So yeah, we have rarefied conversations. We talk about things that you can't talk to anybody else about.
Yeah.
And then we make art that expresses our feelings beyond words. And so sometimes we just show our pictures and we don't say that much about it, but just the feeling that you get when you're making your art. I don't know. I do know about art therapy, and I have a background in it, and I also taught art. And I remember Victor Lowenfeld, who is a child psychologist who wrote this big book about children and creativity, said, I remember him saying, it's always nice to have someone on the other side of the easel. Kind of the way kindergartners have the easels, the painting easel, and somebody's on the other side of the easel. So when you're making your art, they're making their art. It's about the same subject. You're keeping them in your heart and mind. You're keeping the issue in your heart and mind. And when you reveal it, even if you have the same topic, everyone's is different, and yet you have a common bond. Maybe it's because you all made art at the same time, I don't know. But the fact that you did somehow brings you closer in a way that nothing else can. So I really believe in group art therapy and art as therapy, and all aspects of art as therapy, both individual and group. And sometimes it, you know, you don't need to be led. Sometimes you can lead yourself, but it's nice to have that as a resource.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
I'm Debbie Martinez. Can I go?
Sure, Debbie.
I actually ran upstairs and I got my art from that assignment that was done, and Jessica's smiling because I fell in love with that poem. I don't know why, it just spoke to me so much. So I'll always remember it. And it was on January 7th of 2021. And I drew a tree that actually grows in my backyard. So you can see you don't have to be an artist.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm getting excited because this is going to happen again very soon in the fall. This is a gum tree, and when it turns colors in the fall, it actually turns into many different colors. Some of the leaves are purple, some are yellow, some are orange, some are red. And the other annoying thing about the tree is that it drops these really prickly balls. And you don't want to step on them, the leftover ones in the spring or summer barefoot. But I thought it was like, I did it because it's one of my favorite trees, but I also did it, I mean, as far as the multicolors, but I also thought it was sort of a metaphor for our cancer and who we are and all the colors and the beauty that we have. But then we have this darn cancer of these prickly balls, you know, sort of ruining the overall beauty of it. So I just wanted to share that. I got excited. I don't know why I should have had it before the meeting started, but I thought I'm going to go get it. I know exactly where it is. So.
I think everyone got a kind of a taste of what Ellen and Debbie was saying. And I don't draw. My left hand doesn't work, but I you know, so I use my right hand. Obviously, I can't draw a tree like that, but it's amazing. I'm going to move on to guided imagery and introduce Dana Dell. Dana's a certified hypnotherapist, and she also was originally on October 2020. So Dana, and I think Dana's going to help you with your presentation.
Hey, hon, you're muted. You're
Okay.
muted. We can't hear you. There you are.
Okay, sorry, everybody. Is that the first slide, Dana? Okay. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to start over again. I'm excited to be here tonight. I'm excited to see faces I know and new faces, and I hope that you'll join us at Guided Imagery. What we're going to do tonight with my part is I'm going to kind of go through and explain what we do in Guided Imagery, and then we're going to do a mini little short guided imagery thing, just so you can have a little taste of it and realize that in the class, we normally have more time to get relaxed. We have beautiful music playing. So this is just a real little sweet example of what it is. So on the screen right now is kind of the definition of what guided imagery is. And basically it's just using the power of your imagination to foster healing of the mind, body, and spirit. We use gentle phrases and words that create sensations that can help us heal. And this works because our bodies, it doesn't discern whether an image is real or imagined. So when we bring an image to mind, like sitting on a beach with the sun shining and warming our bodies and the waves crashing in, it's a relaxing image. And then our minds begin to relax and then our bodies relax. And so this is what guided imagery basically is, right? Just beautiful words and phrases to help us heal. Okay, next slide. There's a lot of benefits to guided imagery. You can go online and look at more reasons, but here are some great reasons why guided imagery would be something you might want to participate in. It influences one's emotions and thoughts. It enhances physical and emotional well-being, produces a deep state of relaxation and stress reduction, reduces negative emotions, and complements and strengthens all forms of healing. Even more so, there's been numerous studies that show it affects almost all major physiologic control systems of the body, such as heart rate, blood pressure, metabolic rates, digestive functions, and most important for this group is immune system response. And it's important, it says too, because it like a regular practice gives your body and mind a time for rest, renewal, and repair. Okay, next slide. Okay, so what happens in guided imagery? We meet about twice a month for 1 hour. And just like this little slide presentation, I kind of put together different slide presentations on topics that I think are relevant to our group. And most of them really promote well-being for the mind, body, and spirit. And after that, we will do a 20 to 30 minute guided imagery session. And as if you've heard of the other healing arts programs, you know, we all know there's so many wonderful apps out there that you can do meditation, and I say, go for it, do it. But what's nice about us is that we're a group, just like art therapy. We check in, we talk, there's camaraderie. You know, you're together on this journey with cancer, helping each other and learning great techniques to deal with that when you come to guided imagery. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the next couple slides are going to just show you examples of topics we've covered this past, I don't know if it was this year or 2 years ago, whatever. The one we're working on right now is called The Healer Within, and it's based on this book written by Dr. Martin Rossman, who's kind of a guru in guided imagery. And in this class, we're going deep within ourselves to realize that we have this inner healer in us. And we worked last week with the Worry Warrior, and next week we're going to meet our inner healer. Okay, next slide. We did a class talking about how words are powerful and that just positive words literally can change your brain and change your reality. Okay, next slide. We talked in a class about nature and how just being in nature is so healing. We learned about a research study that was done just in 2020, that by just going to an aquarium, just being around water can lower your heart rate and lift your mood. So actually just going to an aquarium and looking at fish in an aquarium can do that for you. All right, next slide. We did 8 meditations on the go. So what if you're in the shower? What about if you're sitting at the doctor's office, waiting in traffic? We had great little meditations to do while you're just sitting around. Next slide. We went further and said, hey man, I need a box. I need like something in my pocket when I'm really having a rough day. So we learned about building an anxiety toolbox and learning techniques and things to bring out when you really need them. Next slide. And this one was kind of fun. I talked about the science of smiling, did all this research about smiling. And I learned, as the group learned too, that just that idea of smiling and crinkling the corners of your eyes actually releases feel-good endorphins, such as dopamine and serotonin and endorphins. And that was pretty fun learning all about the science of smiling. Okay, and our last slide is our session. So I was trying to do this quick. So what I'd like you to do, if you're not muted, can you please mute yourself so we don't have any noise? And this is going to be a very short little meditation, guided imagery. And what I'd like you to do right now is just get comfortable in your chair and just gently close your eyes. And I'd like you to imagine that you're sitting in your living room. Picture it in your mind. You decide to get up and go into the kitchen. You walk over towards the refrigerator and you go and open it. Right in front of you on the middle shelf is a bowl of fresh lemons. You take the bowl over to the sink and pick out one of the lemons. You can feel the texture of the skin and the firmness of the lemon in your hand. Notice the color of the lemon as you decide to rinse it off and put it on the cutting board. You take your kitchen knife and cut it down the middle. Pick it up and smell the fresh aroma of the lemon. Now cut it in quarters. Notice the juice squirting onto your hands. This is a really juicy lemon. Now bring it up to your mouth and take a bite of the lemon. Notice the saliva in your mouth and realize that your body chemistry has changed to create that saliva merely by a thought. Because what the mind agrees with, the body responds to. And it did, didn't it? Realize that the power of your mind can create physiological changes. Your cells are very intelligent and can and do respond to the information we give it. Your cells can create and regulate the proper chemistry for happiness and well-being. So allow your eyes to remain closed as you just relax, breathing in relaxation, becoming more and more relaxed with each outward breath. And I wonder if you can notice any sounds in the background of awareness. If you were to begin to relax your body, I wonder what that would feel like. I wonder if you can notice how easily you're breathing right now. I wonder if you can notice that each time you exhale, you can relax more, further and further away from here, taking your mind within, expanding your awareness internally, all the way in and beyond. Your body is peacefully relaxing now as you just let it go, drifting off into those pleasant scenes in your imagination, hearing only the sound of my voice. There is no one to please, no one to satisfy. There are no demands and no expectations. And if you're ready to go into a deep and profound level of relaxation, you can inhale slowly and deeply. If not, you can simply exhale and relax deeper. And now, I'd like you to focus on that very relaxing time. Think about the place, the scenery, hear the sounds, smell the aromas, feel that feeling, a safe and comfortable feeling of relaxation. Take your time. And now allow this feeling to intensify. Feel it. Sense it. Breathe it in. And now press your right thumb and index finger together as if you are squeezing a grape, anchoring in the experience, feeling the comfort. And now think of a color and the word relax. We are now anchoring in this feeling, along with your color and word, to your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, your emotional body, and your cellular memory, being in this place, enjoying the scenery, hearing the sounds, smell the aromas, feel the feeling, a safe and comfortable feeling of well-being. Whenever you want to recall this experience in a wide awake state or in a state of relaxation, it will come back to you immediately, 3 times stronger, 3 times better for you whenever you choose to recall it. And this is so. Allow this feeling to intensify now, feeling even more comfortable. And as you do, allow your fingers to relax and enjoy it even more. That's right. And now when I count from 1 to 5, you will be fully aware, focused, and alert. 1, with the feeling of well-being in every part of your mind, body, emotions, and spirit. 2, remembering your anchor. 3, feeling better than you felt in days, weeks, months, perhaps even years of your life. 4, focused and alert. 5, eyes wide open, and welcome back. So that's a little sample of guided imagery, and I really hope you'll join us on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock. And I hope to see some new faces. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Thanks, Dana. And I just want to let you know that Dana is my sister. Don't hold that against her. So I'm going to pass it off to Linda and Sarah, and take it away, guys. They do our writing class.
Yeah, so as Mark said, we have a group, it's called Write to Explore. And the focus is writing. And I've got a little PowerPoint. Hopefully I can share. So tonight, we're all really talking about using different tools to address some of the issues that we face with our diagnosis. And writing is one such tool. We've found that there's at least 5 benefits to writing. And these come from not just writing, also our conversations that we have in the group. You can become more aware of your emotions, thoughts. It's a way to reduce stress. We've been doing prompts about memories recently, and so it's a way to explore memories, preserve memories. One person is planning to collect all the memories that she's written and give them as a Christmas gift to her kids. It's a creative outlet, and it's a way to be inspired by yourself and others in the group. And, you know, we're also all talking about the benefit of being in a group. And I just have to personally share that some of my closest friends have come from the writing group and art and the guided imagery group. And it's really because of the bond that we share having ALK. So I'm going to turn it over to Linda Webb, and she's going to talk in more detail about the group.
Thanks, Sarah. And thank you, Mark, for having us. I actually had talked to Mark a couple years ago because I'd been in a cancer writing group that had helped me so much. And we couldn't steal their name, so we had to come up with a different name. But when I was going back through my notes, it surprised me that we had started this in October of 2021. So we are coming up on our beginning our 2-year anniversary. But I thought I'd share one of the prompts with you that we have used in our writing group. So it was a picture of a jean pocket, and it says, pockets. Use this idea of a pocket full of something. Write about what your pocket is full of. Perhaps it's full of rainbows and sunshines and waterfall, or maybe it's something more literal like money, lint, marbles, kibbles, pennies, nuts, or dirt. Or maybe it's full of worry, doubt, or love and happiness. Think about what your pocket was full of as a child, and perhaps write about that. And then we give everyone the opportunity to write about something else. So it's a 6-week session. We limit it to 10 people only because we're limited to our time. We give you a prompt, 12 minutes to write about it. You can share it if you'd like, or if you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. And within an hour and a half, we're all done and you're on your merry way. So that's my spiel about our writing class.
Thanks, Linda. I finally got back on my computer, so welcome.
Yay.
It was like horrible to be on my iPhone and do this meeting. And this meeting was so important because of the breakout rooms. But Hanka is joining us live from, I don't know where, but she's walking. Hanka's our yoga instructor. She's our certified yoga instructor, and she also was one of our original cast members in 2020. So Hanka, take it away.
Hi, sorry guys, it's mid-afternoon for us and I'm on a little mini trip. So I just stopped in just to say hi. And yeah, so I am certified yoga teacher here in Canada, British Columbia. And we have been doing yoga for a couple of years now. I think this is our third season. We have pretty small group that comes and joins, and it's basically regular people that come and enjoy it. And occasionally we have somebody new pop in and join, and it's great time. So we take an hour. It's pretty mellow yoga routine. I give options for more beginners versions of poses or more advanced, and it's really laid back. Everybody has their own issues and with their bodies, and so I basically lead yoga class, and everyone is encouraged to follow only whatever feels comfortable for them. And we have a great time. We usually log in 5 minutes before and then chat for 5 minutes after the class, and basically we made lots of good friendships that way. And yeah, if anybody is nervous to get in, it's totally fine, because basically everybody mutes themselves and turns their camera off, and then they just follow the verbal cues or watch me on their screen. But it's really suitable for anybody. We have one lady from England that used to be a gymnastics teacher and gymnast herself, and she likes it. She does great. And then we have some people that are complete beginners and have mobility issues, and they just do what they can and keep showing up.
That's great. And I just want to let everyone know, Chair Yoga, it has a different Zoom number and password. Yoga has a password, capitalized Hanka. So you'll see that. That's one of our only classes that we do have it, because Hanka will be in mid pose when someone tries to enter into our waiting room. So just to let everyone know. Our next group that we do is Death Cafe. And Dana is our co-host with, where's Jesse? Jesse also little. So Dana.
Hi, I'm Dana. I live outside of Philadelphia also, like about an hour from Dan and an hour from Summer. I started, the Death Cafe was brought to us by Laura Van Pazo. She attended it in the Netherlands, and she brought it to our group. And I thought it was a really valuable thing, a place where, you know, there's a lot of things that we want to are on our minds and we want to talk about that our family is not comfortable talking about. So I started the Death Cafe, or continued it, and I think it's we have some great conversations. And the conversation that we're gonna break out into breakout rooms.
We do have breakout rooms, by the way. So
I think they're back, right?
Yeah, but they're back. So go ahead.
So I'm just gonna give a topic, and then we're going to break out into small groups, and we're going to discuss what we think about it. And tonight's topic is unsolicited advice, and the guilt that you might feel when, you know, like somebody says, well, but if you had done this, or if you do that, you know, it'll cure your cancer, it'll do this, it'll do that. So that's tonight's topic is, you know, how do you deal with unsolicited advice?
And Jesse, can you please introduce yourself and what your role is before we break out?
Yeah, sorry.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me here today. And as part of the Death Cafe, Dana is really our fearless leader, but I am a limited license professional counselor and art therapist. So I am the mental health professional on board during the Death Cafe, just to be there as support, to open the breakout rooms, to help Dana with guiding the discussion, and just making sure that everyone knows it's a safe, supportive place to discuss those topics she's bringing that are really difficult to have in other settings. And hopefully you all enjoy this conversation and learn that the Death Cafe is really just a name you need to get past before joining this incredible group.
Okay, so I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to assign you breakout rooms for about 6 or 7 minutes, and we'll come back as in together as a group. So here we go.
we don't, and frequently in the Death Cafe, we start with the topic and then we veer off to whatever the person in our group needs. So we don't always stay directly on topic because, as much as it's connecting with people who understand us, and if that person is having a hard time dealing with an issue that wasn't the topic, then we want to be there and kind of help them through, because that's the whole purpose for me of having it, is the connections to people who understand.
Okay, I'm going to introduce Heather Smith. She bounced back. Where's Heather?
Yep, she's
there.
there.
Heather runs Mindset Reset, and Heather and I have spoken many times, and I found her very intriguing and inspirational. So go ahead, Heather.
Hello, my name is Heather. I am a life and mindset coach for cancer patients. I've also been living with ALK-positive for nearly 6.5 years. So I was diagnosed at 34 years old. I was stage 4. I've lived through disease progression, and I am now on lorlatinib, Lorbrena. It's the last one. I've been on all the other TKIs on the market so far. And I had a giant wake-up call when I had disease progression in 2019. And I'm getting pinged here to let people back in. So as a life and mindset coach, I do kind of an amalgamation of all of the healing arts. Like this is what we do, right? We all are focusing on different areas, but it all ultimately is the same thing. It's feeling better, thinking better thoughts. And that is what we do. So I wanted to talk you through kind of a journey that we've all been on. Okay, there are stages. I've lived it, I've studied it, my clients go through it. I've got several clients on here. You guys know who you are, I love you all. So there are 3 stages to a cancer journey. And I say journey because it's always about the direction that you're going. It's not about the final destination, but it is about where you're going. So the first stage, and I have to look down at my notes because before this, I was on a motorcycle ride. And so I have notes here just to remember, stay on topic. So when you're first diagnosed, you hear the words, you have cancer. You are now a cancer patient. This is your sole identity. It becomes this like myopic focus in your life. And often we attempt to make drastic changes to our life, to our lifestyle, whether that's, leaving a job, changing your diet, changing basically everything. And when I see this happen most often with people, it's because there's a thought that's lingering somewhere in your mind that I did this to myself, I am somehow to blame, or I did something wrong before this. There's also a desperate need to research or study or to know everything about your diagnosis. Or if you're like me, you completely dissociate from it. And I totally dissociated hard. Like I didn't want to know anything about anything about anything. And I think if you're here, that's awesome. Fantastic. At least you know where you are. You got to know where you're at in the map. But in this space, you don't have many people to talk to because there's nobody that looks like you. When I was diagnosed, I was 34 years old. I was the youngest person in the oncology office. I didn't have an oxygen tank behind me. So of course, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody that even looked like me. I thought I was going to be a cancer patient who was, bald as an egg and thin and dragging around an oxygen tank. That's not what wound up happening. Instead, I gained a lot of weight. Thanks to the TKIs. So if you go back to the poem at the beginning, she talks about being distant from self. This is the first stage, the first part of your cancer journey. The second one is survival mode. This is where I see most of us spend most of our time. So when you are in survival mode, you are compare and despairing. You see what someone else is doing on their journey. You feel like, oh, I wish I had a longer run on this medication or that medication, or why can't I have, you know, no brain mets, or why can't I be like this, or why can't I be like that? You know, I see all these other people that are so energetic and they're outgoing. I know I'm like an example, and people look at me and they're like, wow, Heather, you're like the Energizer Bunny. Yes, I am. This is just who I am. But we all get caught in these cycles of comparing ourselves against others and despairing. That's a huge one. The other big one is having this anxiety roller coaster. Woo, we had scans, we're feeling good. Oh no, scans are coming, and then we feel like crap, and it goes up and down, and the cycle just repeats and repeats and repeats. There's also Mark's favorite topic, the river of misery. This is when you fall in the river and it's like everything is going wrong, nothing is right, life sucks, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, you're tired, you don't feel good, nothing is, it's just like everything. It's just, and when I describe this, when I myself am in the river of misery, I like to think that I'm like down in the muck and I'm like rubbing it in my hair and I'm splashing and I'm wailing and I'm screaming because this is misery. I'm miserable. And it's okay to be in the river of misery, but there is always a way out of it. There's another topic that I talk about a lot. You're shitting all over yourself. And I do mean that to sound like shitting, but you say like, I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, or I shouldn't be doing this, and I shouldn't be doing that. And that's not helpful at all. The last one is, it's a period of mourning, grieving, the loss of your future self. I thought I was going to retire. Had a retirement plan. I was going to sell everything that I owned, buy an RV, and drive around the United States. That was my retirement plan. When you're diagnosed at 34 years old, boop, that plan is gone. It's gone. I had no idea how my future was going to be. I didn't think I'd live past 1 year, and here I am, 6.5 years in, and I'm like, my mind is constantly blown that I'm still here. And I've had to mourn these pieces, these old dreams that I've lived through. And it's like, wow, I didn't know how hard I was hanging on to this dream that I no longer possibly have the option for. And so there's a lot of mourning in that middle stage. And in the poem, she said, this is where we stay a while. Yeah, we stay a while here in this middle stage. And that's okay. Like, I'm here to tell you, nothing has gone wrong no matter where you're at. But stage number 3, the stage that we should all strive to be at, and especially in the Healing Arts program, this is how you get to that stage of thriving, right? I don't want you to just be surviving your diagnosis, moving your human meat suit through the day. I want you to feel like you are thriving, okay? Thriving means that you have a belief in the possibilities, in any possible thing you could that you can imagine. And belief comes from deep inside. Belief is, I am going to be okay. Belief is, I am strong. Belief is, I am resilient. Belief is, I know that I can handle it no matter what's coming my way. I know I will be okay. This comes from awareness, understanding what you're thinking, what you're feeling when it comes up, what's bringing it up for you. It's understanding what's going on in your mind. This is what a mindset coach does. So we look at your awareness and we say, okay, let's slow everything down. Let's get in there and dig around, and let's look at what's going on in your brain, because everybody's got a human brain. We all have a lot of similar thoughts. The second thing is clarity. This is where you begin to understand who you are today, who you were in the past, and who you want to become in your future. You get to decide every single day that you wake up. You get to decide who you're going to be in this moment, in this day. Another big step to feeling like you're thriving is truly processing all of the emotions that come up, because my friend, there are so many emotions every single day. Sometimes we're shitting all over ourselves. Sometimes we're in the river of misery. We got to process it. We got to sit in that space and allow ourselves to be there in that moment, because nothing has gone wrong. You are supposed to be feeling all of these emotions. And that's why we have the Healing Arts program. That's why all of us have said on numerous occasions, you might think it looks like one thing and you've got like this topic that you're going to talk about or something like that, and then you don't wind up talking about it at all. That's because you need to process and heal it in the moment. And that's what we provide to at the like bottom level core of it. That is what this program really is offering. It's such a gift. The last thing is when you're thriving, you figure out your strategies, right? I was a project manager in my previous life. I have strategies and like standard operating procedures for everything, how to handle scans, building up my resilience bank, having a dream team of support members around me. Like I want my dream team, my supporters, they all have a role and they all know their role. And I ask them to be on my team. And sometimes people get fired and that's okay. And you really learn how to create those beliefs for yourself. Because ultimately, when you are thinking better thoughts, you are feeling better. When you think better, you feel better. It's really the most simple equation there is, but it is the hardest thing to practice every single day. And that is, again, what you find inside of the Healing Arts program. The Mindset Reset, we hop on, we don't have a topic. It's just everybody comes on and is like, hey, this is what's going on. And I get in there and I coach one human's brain, and then we apply it. We look at how it applies to everybody else, because none of us are alone. We are all going through this together. And having the exposure to other people who are going through the same thing, so you don't have to explain it. They always understand. We always will understand each other on such a deep soul level. And so when you come under the Mindset Reset, we may be talking about, parenting a kid, or we may be talking about frustrations with a pleural effusion or whatever, but it's always applicable because we're all here together. We're all doing this together. And it's that community, it's that support, it's feeling seen, heard, and understood, unlike anywhere else. Not that our family and friends don't do a great job, because we do and we appreciate them, but this is different. It is on a completely new level. And so with that, that was like one of the lines in the poem. It was one of the final lines. When you are thriving, you are living with light and you are shining. It's the same reason why Guided Imagery works. It's the same reason why, the Death Cafe works. It's finding your people. It's this relationship building. And it's really the connection with your mind, body, and your soul, right? We need to be connected everywhere in order to have a thriving life. And that was my little spiel. But the Mindset Reset is basically all of this. And we all come together every other week on a Friday, midday. I know it's weird and it seems like, wow, I'm opening up to strangers. I get that, but we're not strangers. We are all in this together. And this is how we create relationships. We have to open up to people who understand where we are. And so we get in there and we just dig into problems, whatever it is, relationship drama, parental drama, all of it. It's not just about cancer life, because cancer life is such a small speck of what your entire human experience is supposed to be. And I want you all to open your eyes and live a big, bold, beautiful life. Pick your head up, look around, take in the beauty of the world around you, because it's a beautiful place.